Hallelujah. Giving, hallelujah. The highest praise. Hallelujah. Giving the highest praise. Hallelujah. Give me the highest praise. In the morning when I wake up, in the night when I wake up, I will lift up my voice to heaven and give you the highest praise. Hallelujah to my King. Hallelujah to my Father. Hallelujah to my Jesus. I bow before the throne. When I look on the wonder and I see all the creation, the beauty of the universe, you never change. You never lie. You never change. You never change. Hallelujah to my Jesus. Hallelujah. 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 Hey, hallelujah. Giving. Hallelujah. God is grace. Hallelujah. Give me the highest praise. Hallelujah. Give me the highest praise. Hey, I'm the friend, Jehovah. From the worship, Jehovah. It is of the prison. From the prison. It is of everything. The worshiping. Oh, you give me life. I will praise His name. I'm here to praise my God because He gave me life. Come celebrate, come today, come and worship Him. He deserves the praise. Hallelujah, giving the higher praise. Hallelujah, giving the higher praise. Hallelujah. That is for you to speak to us on what happened in this session. Okay, well, folks, welcome to this evening program. Today is Saturday. I hope you had a very beautiful day. Let's start on the other side of the politics, and we're going to get to the main issue because they are all interrelated to our many viewers and listeners. Dory Howard, Kaiwai, right there in Des Moines, Iowa. We want to welcome you. Of course, Kienta Wea. That's a pretty good name. Welcome. Dorothy Zuman Boyka, our man John, and Willem Sokant, and of course, our own senior contributor, Amos George. Let's go right back to Capitol Hill, and we're going to get down to the cardinal issue. The GOL delegations is here in the USA. But let's take on what the senator, after that Capitol Hill scenario, there was more explanations. Let's take a look, courtesy of our sister network television crew in Liberia.
He talk about what court must come. Looking at me directly. Then the pro tem said to him, that's not what we are discussing. So when he got through talking whatever he wanted to say, he took a seat. So I asked the speaker, the pro tem, to speak, and he allowed me to speak. But gentlemen, I want Senator Dillon and Mr. Mo Ali, who spoke on Truth FM, is full of irregularities, fraud, that brought division among the rank and file of the components of the TRC Commission. One of the, you talk about justice for victims, but justice also for the would-be perpetrator. When you got to prove beyond all reasonable doubt. And while you are accusing the man of truly he committed those acts. But there was a division among the commissioners within the commission. What brought the division? Several factors brought that division. key factor that sent German Vodia running for his life is the exposure, documentary exposure of a secret deal, putting aside the position of the Liberian people at home and abroad. That document which he put aside leaked to us when the commissioners who differ from him broke away from anybody. What document has to do with when the TRC was commissioned, they were funded with taxpayers' money, and the international donors also contributed immensely to enable the TRC to conduct a national and international referendum to all countries where Liberians reside to find out from them whether they want World Concord or they want TRC. Do they want retributive or restorative? Restorative. So they were funded with taxpayers' money and they were giving donor funds to carry out the work for about 3 years. At the conclusion of the work, when they compiled.
Okay. We just want to add a bit extra here. I'm Afonso Ziensot of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We're going to get the main subject on a discussion on the way. During welcome, Madam Malbat, welcome as well. Thank you for sharing your evening with us here as the senator of Nima County, who many consider as the deal breaker, Prince Yomint Johnson. I'm Afonso Ziensot of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Let's get this program going. So we're going to be looking at the official delegations of the government of Liberia, currently in the United States of America, and we're going to look at the compositions of the government delegation. Even though I've perused most of the media outlets and even the executive mansion, which is kind of weird, very unusual, there is no public service announcement to tell us the purpose of the delegation, but we can make educated guess, looking at the compositions of the delegations and things that perhaps we can try to figure out here to talk about. Interestingly, let me get this here. Young Liberian is in the vanguard in the politics here that we're going to be hosting here tomorrow as well. He's contesting for the borough of Derby mayorship. Our understanding, I believe, on the 18th of this month, we're going to be having here. That's Gerald Dant. Let's take this here. Courtesy of his campaign is knocking on doors in Philadelphia. Let's take a break on this commercial here, and I'll be right back. Okay, let's see here.
In my 15 years in Derby, I've accomplished a lot. From being the captain of our local youth sports teams to eventually becoming one of the youngest statewide public official for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, courtesy of our governor and our state senate. I am Derby Borough. I'm homegrown. From spending many summer days playing football at Penwood Middle School to eating cassava leaf at JD's Liberian restaurant and to the many memorable youth nights at Kia Graves. Even my primary care provider is right here in Derby Borough. As a young man, I was always told that we, the youth, are the future leaders of tomorrow. Well, tomorrow is today, and the future is now. I hope I can count on your support. Please follow all of our social media platforms below to find out how you can support me on this journey and for more information on my campaign. Thank you.
Okay, that was a quick commercial there. Just please bear with us. That was a quick commercial there, and I'm going to be hosting here, Mr. Dan. I'm going to be hosting here tomorrow, so we're going to get a take of what his campaign all about. Sorry for that break in transmission from the place there, but hopefully they're going to be here tomorrow. We're going to have a more conversations of his political sojourn here, and I think that's a good thing. We must be able to rally around our own, and not to necessarily put people down. I think that's a bold step. That's a good narrative. That's a good storytelling there, Ty, from men from a refugee camp, landed in New York, found himself in a predominantly crowded Liberian community, and he's now trying to claim I do what is right, and he's seeking for political power in there. That's good. So that's something we must support. We must rally around him. All right. So let's see here. We're going to have this here. That's him right there. That's the young man right there. Dan is contesting for the mayorship of the borough of Derby, the borough of Derby, right there in Philip area there. So he want to be here, and the folks that are joining him, supporting his quest, they're all going to be here tomorrow so that we can have a conversation. All right. So let us know. We will keep you posted so that we can have this conversation right here on the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. That's in that he's been in the vanguard that with some of the leaders in the place there. So that's to show he's been involved, and we're going to see where he has in store for us and for the city for which he's contesting. So that's quite interesting. We have to have found out very shortly. My team going to be joining me here, and we're going to take a review on the delegation from Liberia currently visiting the USA. I am Afonso Z, and so let's get the ball rolling. Okay, as usual, we like to start on this front. Most of you who were in Liberia during the civil crisis, the West African peacekeeping force, monitoring force that constitute our neighbors in the West African state, I contributed troops towards Liberia to ease the Liberian political tensions and civil crisis. Perhaps you can remember this person here. For those of you who got a good memory, you can remember this person here. He was one of the commanders of the West African Peacekeeping Force, Lieutenant General Joshua N. Donguyaro, a former Icomot commander in Liberia, died at the age of 80. According to major news network, African Star break data from other major news network in Nigeria. Donguyaro died at the age of 80. And it was reported, it's important that we bring that, and our prayers and thought goes out to the bereaved for the death of Donguyaro. Joshua Donguyaro is the former Icomot commander assigned in Liberia during the heat of the civil crisis, which of course we believe we can't remember. And so he has passed away. It is important that we also bring this information to you. Most of you that just don't know what has happened, for us to have this here. All right. So that's Lieutenant General Joshua N. Donguyaro, a former Icomot commanding general in Liberia, died at 80. Our prayers and thought goes out to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the bereaved family of the late general for services. Yeah, we might disagree what happened, but we must also bear in mind these people that they committed and sacrificed their lives to rescue us as a people, as a country, as a nation from the turmoil from what we find ourselves in. and it is important that we also give recognition to that. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Well, let's see here. We can have this. Liberia delegations in the U.S. What next? What it means for the CDC-led government? What we need to know? What is the detail, and why they as other actors are not here? It is unclear as to the intent of the delegation, but we are hearing sources close to the delegation. Their first meeting, there will be gatherings in the nation's capital to Washington, D.C. to around the 27th. But we yet to know the intent, what it's all about. And it is unusual, but it's like people are keeping the expectation low. According to sources traveling with the delegation, to us, GOL seems to be keeping the expectations low because there has been this issue. Thereby, when people are traveling and when the government makes some pronouncement, what is coming from the soundbite coming from the opposition's critics of the government, the advocates community. So it's like, let's keep it low and see perhaps after the conversation, then we can get it out there. Nancy Anderson to welcome. Vanint, Reggie, and Jerome, and other you beautiful people to welcome to this event. Talking Point Crossfire, very shortly, my guys. Hopefully they're going to be joining me. If not, of course, you are here. And that's what important because it's all about Liberia and no one should be left behind. Keeping the news proportional. Okay, as far as we are concerned, what we know for now, the Minister of Planning, Development, Finance and Development, Samuel Tuwe is here. The proxy or the principal deputy to the president of the Republic of Liberia, the Presidential Affairs Minister, Nathaniel Falamangi, is also here. The Minister of General Affairs, Walamenta Piso Sedita, is part of the delegation. Also here is the Maritime Commissioner, Eugene Nambwe, the former Minister of Information to the Republic of Liberia, is here. One can make an educated guess. The compositions, the nomenclature of that group itself. But one of the kind of person is missing, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. We are hearing unconfirmed reports that the mayor is enrolled, but yet to be authenticated. Our understanding, he should have traveled with the delegation, but that has not happened. So he was expected to leave. Whether he left today, our source, we yet to validate that information. So, like we said, traditionally, when delegations is leaving the country, especially government delegations, at such a consequential time, there's some sort of proclamation or there's some sort of official relief. Up to press time coming on air this event, nothing that I'm saying from the official website of the executive mansion for such a pronouncement of the delegations of the GOL, that's the government of the Republic of Liberia. So, how do we know? How can we get the information? So what is the purpose of this trip? It does leave the media industry with speculations and pull our pieces and puzzles far and near to make a guess, to wonder what it is. Very hard to determine because there is nothing authentic coming from the government of Liberia to say. If it is out there, I haven't seen it. So I just do not want to be definitive in my talking point here this evening. But one could make a guess and say, okay, something is in the discussion. But why it is, until perhaps we have the opportunity to talk to these people or when there is an official communique after this meeting. But there are two things I try to grab here based on the representations of the delegations coming here in the USA at this time. Politics in Liberia has been very divisive. You saw Chris Smith recently and all of that. And any country on the planet Earth without having a good rapport with Uncle Sam makes it very difficult because there are institutions, there are organizations, there are government-friendly government. Every dollar and cent the Federal Reserve has to know. They know the serious number that goes out, whether it's in loan, whether it's in grant, whether it was being given to other organizations. You have to get the approval of Uncle Sam. It can't just go like that. And so with the Minister of Finance and the Commissioner of Maritime, it is significant that we can pick up a talking point there. Perhaps, most likely, it is not 100% guaranteed that we're going to hit the nail on the head. But we can also make that educated guess that there is or possibility or probably some sort of conversations within the maritime industry in Liberia, for which the chairman or the commissioners of maritime is here. And the finance minister, why did the governance of the republic, the governance of the National Bank, if perhaps these people are going to be meeting with Federal Reserve, or the Treasury Department, Jessica Yellen. So why is the governor is not here? But I've been told by sources the governor is on a major conference in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So the government is moving here and there to solidify their position. And let me tell you now, Liberia as a nation, in as small as we are, and whatever that is hoping, flies the second largest flares within in the sea with ships. If you haven't heard that before, that's the fact. And we have been on top of that. And I was going through a few articles way back, and I was shocked that as far as 2014, let me be very clear. I am not saying whatever been given is to the CDC or George Weah-Led government. Over 20 million annually is being remitted to the government of the Republic of Liberia, according to what this article is saying. Again, it is not, I'm not saying in the hands of George Weah. And it is quite fascinating. This thing, it has a long root history. And I hope authority at the maritime will, at some point in time, to come out to know exactly how much the government is being benefited for and how it is. There is a treaty on the international waters, what they call flight of convenience. Flight of convenience. Liberia happens to be the beneficiary of that. You don't want to know how this whole thing went. Well, my guy is here, Amos George. We're going to be having this conversation here to see possibly what it looks like and what we can take away from this conversation here tonight. All right, so this clause called flight of convenience has been dated from the 20th century, which of course is of recent, and Liberians happen to be a direct beneficiary, and folks are there. And so what happens? There was this guy way back. There was this guy who participated in World War II. After World War II, he decided to what prompted he decided to go in our little country, Liberia, a stopover while he was on his way to the US. You know, these corporate guys, there are so many ways to try to figure out how to bring money or how to make money. And so when he went, the journalists, this is from the CNN Money.com and the National Public Radio. So these are credible institutions are reporting this. It's not from Wikipedia, and it's not even a Liberian journalist, because I'm trying to figure out why it is. And interestingly, the guy, when he went, he saw what's happening in the country, knowing the poverty, the country is underdeveloped. So something potentially clicked in his head. These people are innovative. They think way ahead. They get a short-term and they get a long-term goal planning. And when he came, he decided to sell this idea to his business friends in corporate America. Guess what? There is a country on the west coast of Africa, Liberia. The poverty rate there is high. The country is underdeveloped. But we can do something for vessels to fly the Liberian flight. Let me bring in Amos George here, and we're going to get this talking point. Folks, get ready. Let's get the ball rolling. Okay, let me bring in Mr. Amos George. Is a senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio, and Lpr-Tv is based in Atlanta, Georgia. Is joining me here. Hopefully, maybe deliver us. Just okay. Let me just allow you to fix your stuff, and then I'm gonna bring you in here. Your camera. The camera. I think we need to do some sort of GoFundMe to find some special stand for AM, but unfortunately, I only go for whatever thing. Okay, let me see here. I think it looks perfect now. Let me bring in Mr. George. Okay, Mr. George, good evening and welcome.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. How you doing?
Okay, look, let me scratch my hair here because I'm trying to find answers. Nobody is telling me answers. We have been making a lot of phone calls, but we try to figure out the compositions of the government of the Republic of Liberia. First of all, I think it's a good thing for them to make their presence felt here in the USA. What still remains unclear is the nature of the meeting. Who are those that are going to be meetings? What are State Department, White House, Fed? We just don't know here. But seeing the Minister of Finance, saying Maritime, and knowing what no. In fact, Liberia flies their ships, tankers, more than 4,400 vessels worldwide. They are flying Liberia flags on international waters. That's huge. That's significant. And this article says it brings in huge fund. But at the same time, the writer was very clear that it seems there are people taking advantage because of the poverty. And let me be clear, it is not from the George Weah or CDC their government. It's been dated way back. Just imagine from 20, and there are people that are responsible. I'm gonna bring this guy in. And in fact, there is a Liberian guy who did an article, who is a maritime expert, is based here, did an article as well. I'm gonna get to your name. But let me just bring you in here. Good evening. I'm sorry to take you away this Saturday here, but this is what we signed up for, to have genuine conversations about our country and put it into context. Have you got an insight, the purpose of this trip from anybody, any of your souls? What you think? Is it timely?
I tried to browse the internet. I can't get anything. Maybe I don't know.
Oh my, your internet working or not? Because I thought my internet too were having a problem. Because that's unusual, Pat Joy, because usually when the high power delegation is leaving, and this is where the public relation aspect, I kept saying here over and over and over. I think there's two things involved here. The fear or the reaction from the ordinary citizen. Oh, they're coming up with one year and they will say this. So like people say, let's hold it back. But the information, it has to go out there. You got to tell the people because it neutralizes your opponent at work. But we didn't see anything. As a matter of fact, yesterday, I ran right after our program around 9:10, and one of those put the Leonard, the delegation to Leonard, which is good. I'm happy that they are here because we want to see things working. But why we did not make this information public? Or maybe it's out there. I haven't seen it, and you're quite correct because I've searched. I haven't seen anything. I'm not talking about gossip from the Facebook. I like information concrete, and so I like to get it from the government sources or maybe from the official website of the executive mansion, because when the president travels, there is a press release, but nothing has been mentioned about that.
Yeah, and listen, here's the thing here. These people are not traveling on their own dime. They are traveling at the expense of the Liberian people. If you're on a private visit, you don't want to announce it, that's your business. But when you are going on a business where the Liberian taxpayer money is involved, they have all right to know the purpose of the visit, because at the end of the day, they want to know how the money was spent and what will the dividend they will get in return. This is not, it should not be, yeah. Sometimes government go through some channel, they do some secret meeting, but this is not a security thing. So what are they hiding? Even if you make the pronouncement, fine, whether we criticize it or not, but it is your responsibility, and it is the responsibility of Liberian people to know what you are doing. You are working for the Liberian people. So why is this being like a secret? At the end of the day, it's out there. We will definitely know whom these people are meeting. Okay, we know the minister of finance is here.
Is it a good strategy to keep the expectation low and put out like a surprise or what?
No, let me say this. expectation low, expectation high, it doesn't benefit them. Yes, the reality is you can't hire now, Mr. So. You cannot hire. So what benefit if you keep it secret? At the end of the day, it will be revealed. So why are you hiding? The Minister of Finance is coming, or he's here. Maritime Commissioner is here. Is there Natalia Maki on the delegation?
Yeah, Minister Magee, who is a direct representation of the president. Yes,
okay,
sir.
the Minister of State. So definitely, officer will get to know whom these people are beating. So they can keep it to themselves. But the idea here, it is the public got to know who are these ministers and what was the purpose of the trade. They got to tell the Liberian people. So,
is it fair to say that it's a very good and huge representation of the government of Liberia, or something left out that we need to know?
No, Mr. So, yes, the thing here. There's nothing wrong with government official coming to America from Liberia. We don't even know the nature of the visit. Is this an official invitation from the State Department? Is an invitation from the White House or Congress? We don't know. The biggest thing is
what makes that so important?
No, yes, the thing is, the biggest thing is what you get out of the visit, the dividend. What is the payoff? That is the issue. You can come here and meet the president of the United States. It's what you're carrying back. You can meet the vice president. You can meet the speaker. Those are all important. But at the end of the day, what your country is benefiting from, that is the main issue. You can come and maybe they're coming to report on some of the things that we have been seeing in the press or in the public about the government image. Maybe they're coming to meet Congressman Smith or whoever to say, hey, this is the side of our story. But at the end of the day, what will they gain from it? That's it. What the Liberian people will gain. That is the biggest question. Because I saw President Weah went to China twice. He went for the African Summit, where Nigeria, Sierra Leone, all the countries, Ghana, to walk away with millions of dollars.
Doesn't matter to also inject into this conversation here. And this is where the problem is, because there were a lot of scenario stories and soundbite out here. People came to a conclusion, X, Y people, this not going to travel. And when I heard that, I was hearing that, like, wait a minute, why these people should keep distracting their message? That's not important. If you want to unseat the people, you have to refine your tone. What is the point of saying this government person not coming, they're not coming? Government is much deeper inside, but it is unfortunate that we have a young people who doesn't know how government works. They know the philosophical part of government, or maybe rare things about government. But look, this is a country where people speak, and a congressman, senator, and anybody can speak. It does not necessarily suggest that's the government until you can see some statement or some congressional joint congressional statement comes out. That's make it huge. So I'm worrying here because people told them that they were not coming and they are here now. So okay, let's leave it with them, so it will become a headache for them. Is that a good strategy?
Yes, the thing is, Mr. So, even government officials, sometimes there are restrictions. But for certain government officials to attend certain function, they will come to the U.S. They will meet with people they're supposed to meet with and go back. And one of the things I'm saying here is that these people that are coming, we have to see how far will they travel, the perimeter they will go to. After the meeting from Washington, whether they will go to Maryland, whether they will go to Minnesota, Philadelphia to meet with other Liberian or a partisan, you have to look at all these things here. So I don't want to jump the gun to say, hey.
Okay, I think you inside something good inside here.
Yeah.
Is it important, or will it favor the government of Liberia? Because there are a lot being out there, and part of that sort of a test skin, instead of that sort of thin skins and concern what going to be the reaction, what people are going to tell them and stuff. Is it important after the whatever visit we are here in the first meeting, perhaps on the 27th, if that and only that is according to source close to the group, that what they are saying? Is it important that after their meeting to make a rounds in some of these predominantly Liberian-based areas and have like a town hall meeting to go further to explain the government? Do you think that will happen? Or even come out to appear on some of these networks and be able to come clean and have this sort of conversation?
Yeah, they might go on some of the network and friendly network they will go to. So, but it is.
What do you mean by friendly network?
But Mr. So these people are very selective in going and choosing where to go to talk to reporters or panelists or analysts or pointers. They know where to go.
What is it? What is the strategy that for they try to get away free pass?
Oh yeah, because they may not be asked a tough question. Some of the questions there's no follow up to hold their hate. You said that yes, the follow up. Why? They don't want to be challenged by those things. So they go to places that the people, one of the reporter or panelists will just maybe let it slide on in the raw and they get away with it. So yes, the thing here. They are here now. But look at today's one. The 27th. So that's almost the end of the month. So they will be here for almost 2 weeks plus, maybe. So what will they be doing in that interim? Will they be making rounds to Liberian community? And you see, and yes, here, they will be selected again if they are allowed to go out in the Liberian community. They will go to predominantly CDC communities to talk to the partisans.
How can you arrive? How can you come to that conclusion? Does CDC have community here in the U.S.?
Oh, Mr. So, CDC base, and one of the popular places is Minnesota, Philadelphia. Samuel Twakin, and he went to Philadelphia.
Do you want in Atlanta, Georgia?
Oh, they can come if they want it.
Will you welcome them?
Oh, I would be glad to go to talk to them. Oh, sure. I would be glad to come. If they come to Atlanta, make the announcement that they want to meet the Liberian community, I will sure show up. And if they allow me, I can ask some questions. That's my home. I don't have a problem with asking any of the government official question. I'm not going to
acknowledge our man. Gus Jones is our national correspondent based in Harper City, Maryland County. Gus, thank you so much. Hey, Uncle Ben, welcome to Reggie. Welcome to all our viewers and listeners. We will try to open the line here much sooner here tonight for people to see what sort of advice that we have. Okay, this is this Liberian here. You know, this whole thing, the maritime thing is much deeper. But my guess, huge emphasis most likely will be injected into this maritime industry in Liberia. The presence of the commissioner speaks volume. It speaks to the matter that perhaps, and I'm not sure. I have to find out who is the chairperson to maritime affair. With these two articles that I read, Liberia has been robbed.
No, Mr.
If it still like that, then we need to know. So you see, this is where I'm coming. You're going to make your point. This is where the functionality of national government comes in, and it is not only the executive branch of government, the first branch of government, because these are people that have oversight responsibilities on autonomous agencies of government. I want to know when lies this whole maritime, because there's a Liberian guy here, Mahandut Jones. He's a Liberian and maritime lawyer. They're an article on CNNMonitor.com. Those are credible institutions that they have realized Liberia, that went from World War II. People realize that Liberia is a cheaper place when it comes to the maritime industry. These people flying Liberians flags and all of that. If there's an article on the National Public Radio here, these are reputable institutions. I'm talking, that's not a Wikipedia stuff. Somebody just went in there and said, oh, guess what? This is what is happening. There are over 4,400 ships. And the article went on to say, amazingly, because when this reporter went to do an assessment, Liberia's and U.S. flag, you know, there are a lot of similarity, unless we have one star and the blue, stuff like that. And it went further deeper down to say that they are giants, tankers, major vessels worldwide, they are flying Liberian's flag. And Liberia is being in the first and second position. Liberia has never gone down. And the article even went on to say, even during the crisis of the Ebola, that was the only source of revenue.
Yes.
About 20 million annually.
Yes.
That's not George. We are government.
Hold on.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's the thing.
so this is quite interesting to see what is happening. So how much do we really need to know? If we have over 4,000 vessels, giant worldwide, flying Liberian flags, tankers, and all of that, how much is being given to national government?
Good question. Let us do a little bit of history. The maritime program, that was part of the Marshall Plan that was given to Liberia for supporting the American during the war.
Yes.
Chase Manhattan or ITC banks, all the KLM, all these American institutions that you saw after the World War II, that was part of Liberia benefit from the United States government. Hey, because those everybody got that Marshall Plan, but Europe didn't utilize her own. Liberia corruption killed the country because that one the country should have developed. You have land coal, you have bomb mines, you have
Mr. Coley, welcome from my neighboring Abidjan to La Côte
Yes.
d'Ivoire. Go ahead.
Yeah, you had the LMP in Bombing Hills. All these companies that was a part of the Marshall Plan that the United States.
Oh my goodness, Pa Joyce.
Yeah,
Pa Joyce.
uh-huh.
This conversation is about to be derailed. It's about to be like this end track record now. I'm telling you, the spoiler, the liberal progressive. He claims to be liberal, but he hang up with those people. They are the people that kick Lance Cheney out from Congress. Or Calvin McCarthy, that his friends. And he lives in Sacramento. So yeah. I have all reason to believe that. See him. He professed that he loved Liberia. The Liberty Party-based USA man, the liberal progressive, Samson Branto. Mr. Totan, good evening. Mr. Totan, welcome. Evening.
Thank you. I'm very sorry, with technology and other issues, but we're not here to give an excuse. We're sorry. We take responsibility, but that's okay. We're here. But I want to thank you and Mr. George for carrying on the touch for us while we were absent. But I think the conversation was very interesting from Mr. George's perspective, and I think. Okay, this is because I've been listening for a few minutes. This is what I have to say on these people because I've not seen them yet, so I'm not too sure whether they're even here. But if they're here,
they are.
Okay, I think they are busy, even without, because it's kind of strange to have a delegation leaving Liberia and not having a press release, or so to speak, that I've not seen yet. Maybe they did. I've not seen that. And to say exactly what they're here for, then at least wants to speculate, because many Liberians have gone on social media and in fact, they're there to come here because they believe that they have committed some economic crime against Liberian people and what have you, and therefore some of the stuff that we were reading from social media that they were not able to come. So I think they're coming here, if they're here, and not showing exactly what they're here for. It's just to show.
Let's get it out here. You seem to be struggling here. I know you have to throw some red meat out there here, which is okay. Is there any happiness in man, first and foremost, that the delegation is here in the USA? Anything?
Of course, they are Liberians. I like to see man officials of Liberia to visit the United States. Because we've been reading so much about these people and certain group of Liberian government officials that were not going to be able to come to the United States. However, some of us have been perusing the State Department website.
People that were making the conclusion is so stupid, is so silly, is irresponsible, even if that was the case. And I was speaking
Mr. So,
why should I waste my time on that?
Mr. So, Mr. So, I don't mean to interrupt, but I will not describe those who, a section that comes from the other people to describe it as such. I
Of
don't know
course.
what their motivation is. I'm not going to sit here to say that is irresponsible.
It
No,
doesn't.
so
It doesn't.
I
It
can't
doesn't.
say that.
It doesn't put bread on the table. I told you this guy is about to derail this conversation. We were on point here, and he's starting.
No, you were on point because you didn't have counterbalance. It was just you and your conservative friends were taking it from one pin to another. I'm here now to make sure you have a counterbalance. And I'm not here to derail it. I'm here to give you the second point, in a medical term, a second opinion, so to speak.
Look, here's the thing here. The government official coming here, for me, it's good. The only problem
I would say it's overdue.
It's overdue. And here's the problem. What I'm having here is these people, again, they are not using the private money. It's the taxpayer money they are using to travel to come to represent the people of Liberia. I think the Liberian has the right to know. And anything people say, whether they will then come here or not, that is just speculation. Because if America ready to sanction people, individual, they will put the list on you will check on the State Department. So everything now being said was just mere speculation. So that one I don't even want to do into it. The question some of the questions I want to know is how far will these people travel?
How far are you saying that they're going to put a GPS on their feet?
No, listen.
How far? What are you talking about, Amos George?
When I mean how far they will travel, these people came to the United States. CDC has parties in different states.
Mm-hmm.
Would they try to visit some of the community to explain to their supporters? Or ordinary like
interestingly, George.
Let me
Mr. Josepha Thomas here validated your point. Say, yeah, CDC have a community in the USA.
Now,
but let me just.
Oh my goodness!
I don't mean to interrupt. But like I stated from the beginning, I'm here as a counterweight, whatever ideas and with why we respect the ideas and your view. Mr. Joyce, we don't know that these people are using Liberian people taxpayer money to travel. That has not been stated. So we can't come out here. Let me finish my statement, please. We can't come out here and make such a assertion that these people that are saying using Liberian people money as though we have a definite proof of that. Having said that, let me just say this here also. These people, if they're here, and again, we don't know. That is the baffling part about this whole issue here. What is so confusing as far as I'm concerned? You have huge delegation from Liberia, highly government official, high-profile government official coming here to the United States. And we have not seen on the social, because many of them love social media. When Honorable Samuel Twe came out with a benevolent detector, he didn't do it in isolation. He did it on social media. So many of them, when they're making a pronouncement or proclaiming to be...
Where are you going with this conversation? Where are you going?
I mean, Mr. So, please do not interrupt. And this is what you guys conservative do when a liberal is expressing himself freely. You interject. And I bet you before the night is over, as usual, you and Mr. George will connive together to sanction me. But I'm not going to allow that. Let me just finish my point. The point that I'm making here is this. These people, first of all, they're Liberian. I'm glad that they're here because many of us been reading that these people were not going to be able to come here and what have you. But I'm glad they are here. Now, the point of their visiting one point to another, and I don't know. At this point, I'm speculating, and I'm allowed to do that. If these people came here as a government official based on the government passport, diplomatic passport, they're allowed to travel to the city. If the government of America say, yeah, you can come to the United States and give them some sort of a zone that you can only travel, then they might not be able to go from one point to another. This is what's going to get interesting. If these people start individually, start traveling from one community to another, then I think all of us have been reading these burgers, I will call them now, statement about our government official, then I think it's about time that we take these people that come out and make these kinds of pronouncements, whether we want to take them serious or not. Now, here's another interesting thing that this visit have done. There's many of us who've been reading and following certain personality in our community. And their personality, these people have been announcing these people cannot travel. What this visit has done, it has put a dent, and I would say dent, in their credibility. Now they're also going to have to be very careful. Now they're also, the pressure is on
credibility
them.
on who? Credibility on who? We are not in a secret society yet.
Mr. So, I am not here to have some sort of a kabuki dance with anybody. That's not my point. I'm saying those of us that follow social media, perhaps you don't. So I don't know. But we've been reading, not just one platform, many platforms have announced that these people were not going to come. So now,
who said that? What are you excited, man? This is how your behavior get that country to be what it is. The people, who are the people? Pa George, go ahead.
Let me say this to you. Everything that had been said was speculation, because there have been no document from the U.S. State Department to list anybody. So anything someone said, it was just mere speculation. If there's document from the State Department indicating that certain ex-official cannot come to Liberia, then it becomes credible. Other than that, it's mere speculation. Now, let me go back to you. You said that, how do I know that these people are using the Liberian people taxpayer money? The Maritime Commissioner is not here on his private visit. If he's here on a private visit, he will use his money. The Minister of State is not here on a private visit. If he's here on a private visit, he will use his own money.
The Minister of General Affairs.
Yeah, the Commissioner of Maritime is here on an official visit. That is the taxpayer money they are using. I don't even have to speculate. There's no speculation in that one. Okay? They're using the Liberian taxpayer money, and the taxpayer has a right to be informed. I'm not going to speculate. If Eugene Nangbe came here to visit his people, I would not speculate that he's using Liberian taxpayer money, because he's not a government functionary. But as he comes here as functionary or dignitary of the Liberian government, it's the taxpayer money. So that's just it. That means I go back to so what I'm talking about is maritime here. So maritime, ITC, bomb mines, Lamco, bombing hills, all these things was particularly into Liberia as part of the Marshall Plan, those that supported the United States
in the war.
Even if you find out, because of that, Liberian kicked the German out of Liberia. The German were in Liberia. They kicked the German out. So in return, after the war, there was a package they gave every country that assisted the United States in that war. What happened? Corruption took over. Today, Liberia is still suffering. Europe today. Liberian economy, I think they say, was next to Japan. What happened today? We had not gotten anything because of corrupt people in the country, and the same corruption continues today. So this maritime money, this is the elephant meat for every government that come in power. Chancellor stole from there, and then they stole from there, and the government.
Hold on. Before I as a liberal sit here and have Mr. Joyce to continue to give us a laundry list of who have stolen money in Liberia, and me watch you now, and me mind you also. Many of these people have not been convicted. Many of these people have not even been brought to trial. Now, Mr. Joyce is now pronouncing as a judge, a jury, and the executioner. This, the liberal will not allow and sit here without making any remark. Now, I'm not here to defend anybody. Now, Mr. Joyce is making these kinds of statements. Perhaps he's right. But let us, as a Liberian, Let us first of all respect the rule. There are rules in Liberia. There are laws in Liberia on the books of those that will bring people to books who have violated the rule of the country.
Yeah, I think for the first time,
let me just say one other thing, folks. The last thing I want to say before both of you try to interrupt, let me just say this here. First of all, you are here in the United States. You are not Liberian taxpayer. These people have no obligation to explain to you or whatever. They don't have to explain nothing to you here in the United States.
This is okay. Let me before you come in. I don't usually agree with this guy because sometimes his things can be so ridiculous to come out to say, "Oh, we don't know whether they came as a delegation." Do you want to agree with us first now that these people they are here as a direct representation of the government of Liberia? What I do agree with, and this is the problem that I have with people that are talking and people that are doing stuff. Well, if you come out to, you see, and that was the point, the video I was just saying, that was the point Prince Johnson was making, in as much he's very ridiculous and stuff, but he also can make some calculated points, and that was something around as it relates to TRC. When we sit on these platforms and other outlets, and you try to get something out there, and you as a presenter or facilitator to sort of begin to indict people, then you already finished running judgment. So on that part, I go with the Lpr. I don't know whether Mr. George was vehement or he wants to restructure his say allegedly or something, but to say they are criminals and this and that. I don't know. They have not appeared.
Yeah, it's the thing. Let's go back and do our research and see how much money Liberia are getting from Beaumont. Why Beaumont, the road from Beaumont to Kakata was never paid. If that money was used for the intended purpose, if you tell me the road from Beaumont to Kakata was never paid all those years, Bombing Hill, if the taxpayer money was used in Bombing Hill, what is Bombing Hill today? Lamco, if the taxpayer money was used to benefit its people, where is what left in Lanco that the citizen of Nima County can show that yes?
So, okay, then that one it comes to the more or less to the administrative part. Are we agree with that? So that means we don't know because that has been because the government of Liberia from history from time to time, and that's an arguable point there because I was talking to someone. They had this tendency anytime these major concessions, major companies, they want to do something, they get the money, we will do it. Now, believe me, these people that get their 4-week, 10 weeks jeeps, it's not going to hurt them. It's nothing because they know what they are even getting in return. So whatever and they want their businesses to go on. So they just give it and these people pocket it. But we also have people, and that's where the civil society, the interest group, the different sort of auxiliary that makes up the civil society. That where it should be. And that's where our lawmakers should come in to make sure these people are held accountable. But it's not done.
Yeah, but let me say this. Corruption, sometimes you don't have to prove it. But in the social setting, you can see people's lifestyle changes. And you wonder, if this man in one room, all his life he has been living in one room, but he got a job today, the next 6 months, this man able to buy a house costing $50,000. Where is that money coming from? In the social context,
when a salary not actually commensurate with with their asset.
So these are things, Mr. Toh, if you sit down there and say, well, everything we got to prove that this man is corrupt, you look at some of the poor lifestyle. That's how sometimes you teach them it's right here in America.
George, that's a quote. That's a kangaroo quote you are talking about now. A quote
the point Mr. George is making is called investigative point. Investigative assertion. You can do an investigation. Investigation does not conclude, does not mean that that person is guilty. Now, let me say this, and then I'm very serious. Back in Town, in my own dialect, as a countryman,
please come for this guy.
Please, as a countryman, there's a saying in Town. I'm from the country, we're in the bush, but there's a saying in Town. Okay, there's a saying in Total. The snail that you see crawling under the leaf, your eyeballs, 2 eyes, see the snail, but you dare not pick it up. You dare not put your hands on it. First thing you do, you take a stick and remove the leaf, and then you pick this snail up. Now, what am I saying? If anybody, if Mr. George section, I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying we don't have no proof. But in order for these things to come to light, by you sitting here, Mr. George, and suggesting to the intellectual Liberians that people's lifestyle have changed, and because the fact that their lifestyle have changed, therefore, that's too much. You're leaping from the Empire State Building, and I'm not ready to follow you on that.
Mr. Toad, let me tell you, if you're making $10 and you want to live $20 life, there's no way you cannot sustain that. You cannot sustain it. It's not commensurable. It's not commensurable. So we cannot go. You don't even go there. Okay. Liberia. How many ministers you saw in Liberia that left public life, that lived that flashy life? No way. By the time they fired them from that job, they judge you and myself again. They start turning Lepo in Liberia. So yeah, it's the thing. Even in America here, why you think sometimes the lifestyle of people, FBI go after you? Because they check your salary. They know what you're making. You cannot live in that community. You cannot live certain lifestyle. They start to monitor you. These are how people determine. In the social circle, that's how you do. Because you know,
I hate to sit here and I'm saying, and I see myself.
No. Is there lie, Mr. Toad, that you can sometimes you determine people's lifestyle, how they live, that can tell you that, hey, this man, something is not right somewhere. You cannot deduce that?
I can make that. I can make that a conclusion as from myself, but I cannot impose that conclusion as the conclusion for the entire community. Now, Mr. George, why not say I'm not disagreeing with you? Let's get this point. I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying to you, we as Liberians must try and do everything in our power to continue to build the institution. You have code of conduct in Liberia, it's on a book. You have the constitution in Liberia, it's on a book. You have the law in Liberia, it's on a book against corruption. If these people, what you're saying, if it is true, Mr. Josh, please let a liberal have a little many of a time.
Okay, let me get your breathing space.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And that's one thing I like about you as a conservative, but you're on a conservative thing. It's not far right conservative. You're understanding. You have the ability to compartmentalize and be able to understand what is happening with the liberals. So
what is that come from the Saturday tonight, my people?
Mr. So, please let me finish my statement. So
who can understand? I can understand.
Mr. So, I did not call me. I'm just trying to say that Mr. Joyce is not a far right conservative like you are, but he has an ability to understand. Now that does not mean I'm putting a judgment on you. But let me just say this, Mr. Josh. We have books, we have laws on the book in Liberia. If these people are doing things that the Liberians are not satisfied with, they should pick up a lawyer and let the law in Liberia be exposed. Let the law in Liberia be tested. Other than that, it is just something that we can say here in the United States and speculate. And now let me tell you again, Mr. Joyce, let me remind you one more time. You, as a Liberian, unless you live in Liberia, you are not a taxpayer. These people, they are not obligated to you to explain nothing to you. They come here to the United States, whatever they want to do, they do and go back.
They do it and go back, and then the next day you come back, you can't cry, total cry. Let me go to this caller here and let the caller introduce himself. Hello, caller, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, let's
this is Philip Joe calling from Monrovia, Liberia.
Okay, so my man today is all being bad. That the liberal from Totan woke you up, man?
Yeah, listen to the Crossfire.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to give you examples and interject something into my brother there, Josh.
Okay.
You know, right now I work for Last Mile Health as an accountant, and I went to the bank and got like $15,000 and building a huge house. You understand? If I was in government, people would think that I have stolen some money to build that house. And in Liberia, let me tell you, Mr. So, you can buy all the flashes cards, you can build houses outside Liberia. In as much as you decide to build a house in Monrovia or in Liberia, you are corrupt. That's a notion everybody here has. And sometimes it's easier to accuse someone or to prove it. You have to prove it beyond all reasonable doubt. If I'm in government, they feel that you see my house, will be all on Facebook and people say, oh, this man, he never had this. How can he see government? After 3 months, he's getting this. If you are able to pay the bank back their money, they are comfortable of giving you their money. And especially when you are in government, or when you are able to pay back the money, they give you money, and you can do whatever you want to do without something that you have stolen money from government. Let me tell you again another thing. Every government has their own budget. And in that budget, if you do not have anything for traveling, you can't use it. Like when I used to work for the Liberia industrial property, I had a visa to go to Europe. And industrial property never had anything for traveling. So the international community took care of everything, even including my padans. You understand? I'm talking about back in 2010, 2008, 2009. So some of the ministry agencies do not have the line for travel or for international travel. Other international partners also come here and say, well, we need Liberia to be represented, and therefore we are going to make sure that your padan and everything is provided. Even the NGOs that where I work for, some of the minister, because we are into health, if the minister of health is going somewhere and they ask for support, we do give them support financially. If they have people that they want to send in interior or what have you, we provide everything. Like they feel that they are going out giving a vaccine to what they call the CHAs. The CHAs are those community health workers.
Okay.
They are giving the COVID vaccine. And my organizations have provided thousands and thousands of dollars for those who are going to give the vaccine for their DSA, for their lodging and everything. It's not coming from government. But if you do not know and you are not inside, you think that the people are using the taxpayer money. The people are using the taxpayer money. Who are those taxpayers in fact? And what is the money there for?
You're missing the point.
Okay.
So, I mean, let us try to do some of the research and know what is going on instead of just accusing everybody because you work for government and because you never had this car before and now you are working for government and now you're having this car, so that means you are a criminal. There are a lot of people that work with the government Republic of Liberia, like a good character. While it is true that I agree with you that there are others who have tainted characters, there are others who do other things that are not in line with best practice, but there are a lot of good people. But when you work with government, when you work for government nowadays, they put in you are just corrupt. You are corrupt. You are corrupt. So you expect me to be a commissioner of custom or a commissioner of maritime and do not have a decent card? Well, Liberia is one of the leading countries that have those ships.
I couldn't believe it.
Mr. So.
Okay.
It's
Liberia has been in the first and second position always, and major first and second. Liberia don't go to third, even up to this point.
Mr. So, who was this gentleman that just spoke?
To build his own house, or to have a good car for himself, or even get a $2,000, $1,000, $5,000 ticket. It's full that it comes from maritime from anyhow.
Hold on there, Mr. So.
I don't think so.
Could you just hold on?
Everybody in the same place.
But Josh, I will come to you after I come to you. Okay, all right. So okay. So Philip, let me pick out of you here. You in Liberia, you in Monrovia. There you are news freak like myself. any announcement out there, people, the delegations, their purpose, any local radio station reporting anything specific? We've been trying to get stuff here, but we can't get anything. Any new as to what are the purpose of this delegation? Any talking studio news outlet? You hearing anything out there?
No, not that. Oh, I'm not listening to all of those stuff yet, Mr. So
Oh, my man, start out, my man. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
But you know what, Mr. So there are a lot. Before then, there's an ERBC, ERW. So you put ERBC on, or you put ERW on, you get two radios. But now there are a lot of radio stations, and you as a basic person will not visit all of those stations every day. It's not possible.
There you go.
Yeah. For those less basic people, they call from station to station. As a result, all those stations know their numbers and even know their names.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen, for the crossfire. I really enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Guys, does he have a point?
No, he missed the whole point here. Let me say this. When I made a statement, I said people's lifestyles are not determine how they live. When you live in, I gave a clear example. I said, if someone is in one room and they got a job, they move to 3 bedrooms, and you look at the salary, it doesn't commemorate with their living standard. Then you start asking where the extra money is coming from. And it just common sense. He said that he worked in the private sector. He would take his pay stub to the bank. That's how the bank will determine that we can give you the loan based on what you make. These are the terms you're supposed to pay this money back based on your salary. But if someone cannot prove that, what happened? He mentioned the maritime or the commissioner of maritime gets paid. Yes, but with all due respect, this commissioner is not traveling on his private visit.
No, that one, that's not anything that is. I don't know where Mr. Toll coming from, the liberal, to say, oh, we can't draw that.
That's the same thing. This commissioner is not traveling as a private citizen. He's traveling as a delegate of the Liberian government, and in that light, the Liberian, the maritime, the government of Liberia will provide his pardon and everything. All those 3 ministers are coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's government, they are at the expense of the government. And he said, who the taxpayer? The Liberian people are the taxpayer. If you don't know that, the resources that they get, the government get, that resource is for every Liberian. So when the government official is being paid, it's the Liberian people money, naturally, that they use to pay those people. And to Boku said something.
Mr. So, I'm not here to defend government official or whatever, and I'm also not here to be in partnership with conservatives or even the moderate conservatives either. But I will be factual. And so if my facts leading me to be in some collaboration with center right, then so be it. Now, we're talking about corruption. Let me just read something to you very quickly. Front page Africa. Yeah. Liberia ranked most corrupt African nation.
You said what? What you said?
Liberia ranked 5th in 10. Yes, they're going from Africa. You see it? So they say that 54% of Liberians, they said they have done business, and the only kinds of 54% of the people interviewed that when they do business, the only way their business or anything they do in our country can go forward is through bribing. So
so you getting my point now?
Oh, yeah, but that's yes, I agree with you. Now, but that does not mean that because I'm reading this, therefore I should come out and say that the people or the leadership or those who are serving the government are corrupt. Yes, I can say that. But in order for me to say definitely that these people are corrupt, it has to go through the law. Okay. Liberia is not a banana republic. Liberia has a law. And if you want to find something to guilty, you have to go through the law. That's the point.
So the notion people talking president correct this one here. Let me go to this caller here and I'll come back to you. Caller, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. What's your name and where you calling from?
This is Ben calling from Minnesota. How are you?
Good, Ben. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think for probably the first time I would agree with the laborer and the caller who called from Nigeria.
Mm.
Why it is true that we accuse these guys in government for corruption? The truth here is that the corruption is done through their salaries. That's where the corruption is. I mean, you can tell me you being paid $15,000 a month in Liberia that you can build a decent house. That's not true. You can build a decent house. We just saw Dara Dillon in 15 months got about $95,000. So again, the corruption is done through the salary. And for you to actually catch these guys, it must be something that they might have stolen besides their salary. But I can tell you the money that they are being paid can put up those things. That's why sometimes when we argue about the president, sometimes I say, look at how much we are paying the president. When you look at all of these things, it will be very hard to grab some of the guys in some of these crimes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me go back. I didn't touch the Liberal, but Liberal went up by himself. But this is what Mr. Freeman, Stanley Freeman, said. The unit I once worked with at UNICEF, Liberia, was responsible for the DSA. I don't know what's the initiative for DSA and traveling allowance to any monitors from the government. That's the government of Liberia. At the time, that was back in 2013 and 2016. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Pa George.
Yeah, you see, this is why I'm missing the point. If you are working in a sector, UNICEF, in a private institution inviting you, they sponsor that program. Okay, that's the difference. When a private institution or NGO invite people to travel or to do any visit, they show that cost is within the budget. It's something different. Now, the gentleman before said that the Minister of Health. I bet you, Mr. So follow this story. If the Minister of Health come out, they will tell you, say now they have to pay expenses of workers that they are sending out there. Despite that NGO is giving the part down, but the government will tell you, the Minister of Health will tell you, stay, they have to give part down to those people. These are the things that some of them were talking. I didn't come here to accuse any government official. What I said was corruption has been systemic in Liberia. From all the institutions listed, if the money was
not even, that's long back. It's not even long. I don't know how we're going to get over that.
If the money was not misused or misapplied, why that country is not developed? Can someone tell me? Go and look at the revenue that Lango was generating, bomb mines, all these companies at the time when iron ore was in demand. Are you telling me the road from Yekepa to Ghana would not be paid? The road from bomb mines to Kakatan, less than 35 miles, would have been paid. Bombing hills.
Let me go to the caller here quick, and I'm going to come back to you, to our own man, Mason. Mason, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Mr. So. How you doing?
Good evening. So welcome. Go ahead.
Mr. So, when it comes to corruption in Liberia, it's systemic nature. I want to disagree with my earlier brother that called, who said that corruption is in the salary. Salary cannot be corruption. There is no way a person taking pay for the work you give him. If I'm going to work for you and tell me you're going to give me $3,500 a month, that's legitimate. It's not corruption. Corruption is outside your salary. It's benefits that you deny the government or the country outside your salary, come as extra. Those are kickbacks. There's a lot of different things you can consider. And in Liberia, that's why everybody wants to go into government. Everybody wants to rank up into government because depending on your position in the government, gives you access to require or to request extra other than your salary because you know your salary is going to come. Whether it takes a year, 2 years, your salary is going to come. And this is the problem. Now, let's look at the legislatures. Legislatures get $15,000 or $10,000 in change. But yet and still, they want to collect brown envelope to pass on things that they would not want to review, and they will pass on it. Later on, they come back and tell you, say, oh, well, I regret it. Why are you regretting if you are taking your time to study it? I was listening the other day to Dillon in during one of the sessions, the last section they had, and he was telling the speaker, why don't we have the budget? The budget was told the time for the budget to be in our hands is now. This May, we need a budget to be able to scrutinize it, and turn it in on time. But it will not come when it's delayed. And then you will say, we should just pass it because it's delayed. So that is the problem with that. And yes, because some people will get kickback, the budget is delayed or not. Now, go to the finance ministry or go to put when you got, they were talking about PNM or behavior the other day. You got people coming in, the container come, they cannot get the container on because equipment are down, but they have to pay for all the days that the equipment are down and the operation is not ongoing. They got to pay all those storage days. They got to pay for it. Where does that money go? Into some people's pocket. So you see, when we talk about the systemic nature of it, we should look at the fact that these things are known to higher ups and authority, but they are doing nothing about it. That is the systemic nature. That's how things become systemic when everybody knows what is going on and nobody doing nothing about it. And I would say this categorically. The only way corruption will stop in Liberia or will be drastically reduced, except the president take the bull by the horn and start to persecute people and let them go to court. And if the court brings them down guilty, whatever the decision of the court, let it be implemented. That's the only way. That's the only way we come down on it.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay. Pa George, are you there?
Yeah.
That's our own Benson Mason right there. Yeah. Okay, I think it's a very interesting comment here coming from Benedict. Is corruption only specific at any monies outside of salary? And then he came back to say, is corruption only pertains to money? These are really not only money.
Corruption come in different form and different
forms and shape.
Yes.
On a daily basis, people corrupt.
Yes.
Not only money.
Yeah, let me say something. Maybe the Labour might be listening. What the blatant church said the last time in the Senate.
Oh my goodness.
That they confront people, so in return, these people will give them.
They will give them something. That sort of local economic battle system when he's not even supposed to be doing that.
Yes.
When it is illegal, knowing his position. It is wrong. It is unacceptable. It is unethical. That's by right the ethics committee. That's starting. And guess what? I was talking to somebody from Sando today, and they get a very bad characters. He and Matthew Zaza, they don't even talk until the president got to go make. So what sort of representation these people have? The flaws and the failures of government, it just comes from all over as a result. When it swam the entire system, it becomes uncontrollable. Let me go to this number here, 612 number. Are you there? 612, are you there?
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So this is Ben again. I just want, there is something that the caller that just left said that salary cannot be corruption. I want to debunk that. There are governments in Africa that inflict their
salary
workers' salary because the natural resources of every country must be divided equitably among its people. When you're looking at the country of Liberia and you see the amount of money that our legislators set for themselves, that in itself is corruption.
Okay.
Because it was passed through legislature, it cannot be a corrupt act. No, that is a corrupt act. And there are a lot of articles. If you want, I can send them to him to prove that something can be legally done and can still be a corrupt act.
All right. So okay. All right. Pa George, go ahead.
Yeah. You see, one major sitting senator, says that hey, we can confirm people, so in return, they can get our relative and friends job. That is unprofessional. That is unethical.
Will you
And
ever
it is
imagine
corruption.
somebody saying that in the U.S. Senate, the media will bust, the media will
will
bust
go.
you up until you, in a 24-hour time,
And
you apologize for you and your family.
Those kind of behavior, I don't need to go to court to say this man is not is to prove him corrupt. He said it from his own mouth. A certain senator saying that. Do I need to go now to say, oh, to go to court to prove that? The man is saying that he corrupt already. He has convicted himself. And
let me see. Let me pour Gary in the sand here, and perhaps I'm a free thinker. I'm a fast thinker.
Yeah.
And I kind of try to process things and all of that, because when I see people reaction, besides the field, I deeply involved in the sociology and psychology too as well. When I see people, the way they process and react to things, and some of the exchanges that we have seen. After everything, now you have the Minister of State that is here. Unfortunately, I'm not sure whether the Minister of Foreign Affairs will be here. But as long as the Minister of State is here, is the principal deputy to the president and to the government of the Republic of Liberia. Do you think, after all of this sort of jamboree that is ongoing right now, do you think at some point in time, after everything, will the government of Liberia make a sort of formal complaint on Mr. Costa? His presentation?
Yeah, it depends. It depends who they're going to meet. That's why I'm very curious to know who these people will be meeting. And I will say again, they are coming to make a case to those who they will be meeting with. But
we've been hearing a long time, delegation coming. The intent, the purpose, the details yet to be revealed.
But they are coming to make a case. But I always say this thing. Who would be more credible in this case? When the embassy near Monrovia document this information and send it to the State Department, and State Department send it to different committees on Africa or for that particular country. So the minister will come, or whoever will come, to say, oh no, this not happening. They are not going to compare their report that they are getting from the representative from whatever country. Who is more credible? Is it the minister that talking, or the people from State Department? Who is the government going to listen to? These are the things. And let me say this.
So even if let's assume that for discussion purposes, and I'm going to bring in the Laborer because he's giving me an honor card eyes now, so he will say that I'm colluding with you so that we can give him the voice. If for any reason, discussion purposes, if the government ever did that, would that be a wrong thing to do?
Oh no, you have to. Every story has two sides.
Or depending what they're going to be presenting, how they're going to present their case.
What they will present, and they will look at that document. Those who are presenting their own side of story, they will look at their own representative story. Because if you want to meet Chris Smith, they will look at the State Department. They will listen to you. And they will ask you questions based on what the State Department is saying to them. So are you saying our State Department is lying on your government? These are the questions. If at all,
Mr. What's about this here? Before Mr. To come in, Mr. To, I'm coming to you. What's about this? I'm looking at the timing. I know America's stepchild or little baby sister is right now. I don't know why Liberia always found herself at a very crossroad when there are major things going, when we're having issue. Then that's what sort of distraction. You remember the distraction, you remember the Gulf War and all of that. And there was much no attention here. I'm wondering here, to get ahead of this committee here, whether it would be sort of persuasive to even ask for a delay, because that's one of the ways to get the facts finding to even, okay, you have said all of this. Can they extend an invitation to go and see, to observe for a visit? Mr. To, go ahead.
This is what I think most likely. I'm hoping, and I don't know that for fact, but this is what I think this visit would do. If the government, through their delegation, if they're going to come here and point finger at Henry Costa and other platform that are not in line with their thinking or their doing, then of course they will be defeated. Because Aaron Costa and many other platforms that point out the ills and the corrupt behavior in Liberia, they have a substantial proof, they have evidence, they have papers coming from not just Liberians, but foreigners living in Liberia, and even many ambassadors in
Do we need to question the credibilities of those documents?
Well, you cannot question. I don't believe you can question to say that this is what's going to hold up, because why? You have report from the State Department, and the State Department, in terms of Liberia and what have you, they've always given report, and in the report,
so
many of the
are they, another do you think part of that their conversation here, are they coming to some sort of damage control to say, oh no, this is not what it is? That something is
exactly what I suspect will happen. These people, they will do whatever, whoever they're in contact with, whoever that is an American citizen, a lobbyer, whatever that are in contact, the first thing they want to do is to meet with people like Chris Smith and try to explain themselves. Why what Mr. Smith has been saying, why they believe, the government believe that this is not true, and that we're here to present our case to you. And then if you do that and give your own side from your perspective, then it will be a little bit credible. But this is going to be difficult as well. Because just today, Front Page Africa is publishing an article by one of the respected institution in terms of corruption in the world, where now that institution have listed Liberia as the 5th most corrupt country in Africa. So how do you square that now if you want to convince Chris Smith, and then Chris Smith come out and bring out this newspaper from Liberia, Front Page Africa? Now you will not only try to do a kabuki dancing with Costa, but now you will bring in Randy Shea and say these people are not to be trusted. You can't. That would be very difficult. So
in that interim, talking about even with the damage control, how can that be done effectively when in the absence of the doyen of the cabinet, the chief diplomat, the minister of foreign affairs, is not here? So how can that? Assuming they were to go in that direction, can the minister of state proxy the affairs of the minister of foreign affairs as well? Because more or less, they has become a sort of diplomatic channel. And I could be wrong, and I think the minister of foreign affairs is the direct representation of the country. The minister of presidential affairs works directly as the deputy to the president. But when it comes to bilateral and other major protocols, it is the Minister of Foreign Affairs. And that's what's going to be
the Achilles heel. That's what's going to be the Achilles heel for them. Because if you're going to leave the foreign minister outside of this visit, and the people have been watching Liberia, you remember, Samuel Twa always believed he's a smarter man in Rome. It doesn't matter who's in the room. So once again, I'm not too sure why the Minister of Foreign Affairs will be left behind if these people are here to deal with the Liberian situation and try to represent Liberia in a positive light, and you're leaving the person who's supposed to be the frontline person in charge of Liberian policy, foreign policy, and what have you. And if you're going to leave that person behind, what explanation you're going to give if people like Chris Smith say, oh, but how come the other chair is empty? Because if you're going to meet with Chris Smith, he will line the chair up based on position or those who he thinks about. Maybe they'll leave one chair there for the foreign minister.
I'm guessing here. Do you think there will be some sort of conversation with congressional members, State Departments officials, or from the White House? Do we think?
Let me speculate something about the foreign minister, because I think you said that they said the 27th, so got almost a week plus. So maybe the foreign minister will join them later. So we have to wait and see. Maybe the foreign minister,
because our hearing Kojit be coming today. I don't know how, but one of the close people. So I don't know who. We don't know who all the listings are. The officials, people are going to be, whether the White House, State Departments, or congressional members. We don't know yet.
So the foreign minister maybe will join them next week or later. So I just want to leave it at that level.
What happens if the foreign minister just not, if he's not part of the delegation until the visit concludes?
Okay, then let me put it this way again now. Then it tell you how the government is being run.
What do you mean?
But Mr. So, if the foreign minister in the high-level meeting is not out there, who's supposed to be representing the country outside? Because that's basically the job of the foreign minister, to be out there representing the country, and you're having this delegation, high-level delegation. The foreign minister is not there. And maybe, let me throw another thing, that maybe the ambassador accredited to Washington, maybe will represent the foreign minister. I don't know, I'm just speculating. But let me go back to something about this visit. The last summer kind of do, when the United States government accused him, they asked Ellen Johnson Sirleaf to come and testify. She testified in front of Congress. Those sent delegation here to counteract what former president.
I think that was Ambassador Honest Eastmont there. Yes. You see, this is why it is important your representation.
There were credible information that there was a human rights abuse taking place in Liberia, despite the Liberian delegation came to America. Because what they said was, the embassy, accredited near Monrovia, had compiled a report, a comprehensive report of activities in the country. So today, the Liberian delegation can come. They are on damage control. They will talk. But the question I continue to ask is that, are you seeing the American people going to believe the Liberian delegation or what they represented in Liberia or State Department?
It can be a possible, I
want to see that.
Let me just. This is where the lobbyists come in.
Now,
that's what
Eugene Langbe hire a former representative from the Republican Party. I just forgot his name. He is the one that doing this lobbying now. He's the guy that Eugene Langbe just hired from Maritime. And yes, the hypocrisy, I talk about these people. When they were in opposition, they accused Ellen Johnson of using the Liberian taxpayer money to hire lobbyists. They were accusing her.
Our government gets their lobbyists.
Let me throw something else in there, Mr. So.
This is the deceit that the politician does in Liberia. They were telling the supported Liberian people that was a waste of money. Today now, Eugene Langbe, they are now hiring a lobbyist in America using the very taxpayer money that they were accusing.
Well, Helen Johnson Sirleaf, Helen Johnson had her own lobbyists, yeah.
Mr. So, Mr. So, guess who's on the delegation? Guess who's on this delegation? The gender minister.
Yeah.
He's part of it. Now, this is going to be very interesting. The vice president of the Republic of Liberia, who happen to be the woman, it is public that she and the head of state are not on the same path. This has been reported all over. You're not going to go meet with anybody to lobby. They're going to look at this case. And here in the United States, many of these young lady or women, congresswomen in the Congress, many of them are member or association or some sort of sympathizer of the Me Too movement. You're going to come here and try to lobby to these people, leaving the vice president behind.
Wait a minute.
And, Mr. So, I'm just throwing something out there. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. But if you go that route, and the minister agenda is here to defend the Liberia, I say Liberian government has been nice to the women. That question gonna come out. What is happening between you, your vice president, who is a woman, and the president, who also happen to be a male? Look among the delegation. How many women represented? Look among the delegation. How many young women you see represented among this? This is our men-dominated government that you're gonna come here and go stand in front of Me Too movement group, and you think they will take your complaint very kindly? I doubt that.
Yeah, the point Pat Joshua was making, and that's one of the things, because I remember that very well. And this is what the face of the government is very much, oh man, missing, what you say? Hello? Hello, missing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Yeah, go ahead quickly. We'll soon be wrapping up.
oh, Mr. So this delegation, the first thing we got to stop and think about before we go further is everything that we think this delegation should accomplish is just by speculation. We don't know what the delegation is here to accomplish. We really don't know. We are all speculating what they are here to accomplish. And in the absence of that, whatever they tell us at the end is what we agree to as their accomplishment. Will it be real? No, because we don't have no standard by which we're going to set it to. Now, with that being said, when you look at the delegation and you look at the thing, the major thing the people they're talking about meeting in the Treasury Department is to sign two bills. The anti money laundering act and the anti terrorist support financial terrorist support act. They will sign it, but in the absence of the foreign minister, later on they will come to claim that it was not legitimate because they had the four representatives will be there. That government is playing smart. They are playing smart.
Okay.
Because that act, those two acts, would give the American the right to go in and search into our bankings and see where our money is coming from, where it's being going. Thanks for the time, and I wish I'm following you guys and still listening.
All right. Thank you. Okay. So, well, gentlemen, I will soon be going here. But one thing for sure, I'm kind of getting over my hair here. The issue of maritime is cardinal on the visit of this delegation. From these two articles that I read, and according to the authors, 12% of the country's budget makes of what is going into the country from the maritime revenue. And you're having over 4,000 vessels, tankers, flying to the Liberian flag, and Liberian being ranking from time to time, first, second. So I'm wondering here, probably something unusual is now happening. And this has been data way back. It's not from George Weah government. This guy here, this is the name of this guy who is in the vanguard with corporate America with this whole vessel thing here. What his name? Edward Arrows Statinius Jr. The guy who made a stop over. I don't know what his age number. You know, these people to run as a group, as an entity, and so they are still keeping grip on this whole thing here. So we're going to wait and see what happens. Maybe when the delegation leaves, we'll get a final communicate or whatever. But bottom line, we hope, and I hope that something good happens.
And Mr. Toh, let me tell you, the maritime thing is a lucrative money machine for Liberia. Maybe, I don't know, during the Doe time, people have all fought for that position to become maritime commissioner. They all will fight to become maritime commissioner. Every time, every government. You saw Benin Europe.
So that's what one more quarter saying.
Every time, that job, people make money out of it. All kinds of ways they make money from that fleet. And let me say this to you. They come here, Mr. So they're not coming to say, Eugene Namwe been there. Have you ever heard Eugene Namwe spoke? Did he ever speak about anything featured in that commission?
Well,
you ever heard
maybe nothing there feature.
Look, just think, how many times you ever heard that the Liberian government is auditing maritime? And what is that report being made published to the Liberian people? If the government suspects that someone is cheating the government or defrauding the government, directly or indirectly, the Liberian government will go into it. But this thing is not happening in a vacuum, Mr. Tool. It's not happening in a vacuum.
And I think since they got in this treaty of flag of convenience, meaning you can have your vessel here, you don't have to go Liberia. You just do what you do, you pay your due, and that's it. You don't even need to go visit or do anything.
No, you don't.
To join this treaty of flag of convenience.
That's why you see the guy at the office in London. One of the representatives goes to London.
And the
So
Americans with Liberia right here in Dualos somewhere to
yes,
Washington
so
VA area.
people don't have to go to Liberia to register their vessel. They can do all the paperwork. They go to Monrovia. That's it, just for the record. The revenues go there. There are middlemen, people who making money from this maritime thing. It's not just one or two person.
Yeah, because the article went on about 20 million annually, and
Yes.
according to the person who did the assessment, he said, "Well, that's a chicken chain because
That's a chicken
this
chain.
guy is nothing at all,
No.
but he knows that the country is underdeveloped and things are hard, so they take advantage and maybe they have their goodwill gifts.
It's not that they take advantage. It's the country, the leader of that country, because it's like the fleet. You pay cheaper to a country if the
Yeah,
country
so Liberia pays cheaper.
Yeah.
The guys
So,
they say
and
when they're
because-
on the vessel, they drink wine and they do anything because as far
Yes.
as they are concerned, it's nothing much.
It's nothing much. So this is what
All
happening.
right.
And the people allow these things to happen. Not to say it's happening in a vacuum that they don't know. They know it.
Okay.
But this story, we got
So-
to be in it. And yeah, it's the problem. This maritime thing. The U.S.
Hello,
government.
you want to be maritime commissioner?
No, I ain't got a criteria. The maritime thing, don't forget. You know, there's one Army ex-general, he retired, went back to Liberia, the RTC Bank. There was one Army colonel used to jog all the time if you're in Liberia before the war.
Yes. Yeah, oh man, they're tight, oh man.
When he retired, he went into RTC, he took over. And there was some problem with they and Benin Uranium with tax the government. But that maritime money business. They wanted to take full control of that money.
Morning, that's the good and perfect descriptions of the Bible. Morning is the root of all evil. The liberal,
Yes.
are you out of words?
No, I'm just listening as Mr. George continued to give us some true history of Liberia, and sometimes we enjoy those kinds of conversations. And so instead of interrupting, you listen keenly because I am still learning. I'm still in the process of learning. I've never stopped learning.
What is your expectations here? Make an educated guess here for me here. What do you think going to be the outcome if we are to get the final communique from GOL on this visit? Without you think
if these people come here with the intent of trying to boost, if these people come here with the intent of trying to boost the sedition base and trying to boost the government of Liberia for the upcoming election.
Yeah, I think Kwame got in General Yang. Yeah.
Yes.
General Yang.
If they come in here to try to say they're going to speak to Liberians and then try to boost the government standing in order for the government to be re-elected, then this particular visit will be a failure. But if they come here and try to seek the interest of the Liberian people, genuine interest of the Liberian people, and not just speaking to the State Department or Mr. Smith and whatever, but whatever engagement they're going to make, they should make it as public as possible. Not for us here, edification for us here in the diaspora, because we have no standing. We have no standing to compare these people to come and stuff. We have no standing. They have no obligation to us because we're not Nigerian. Many of us here in the United States. Mr. George, please.
Mikey, please come for this guy here.
You're not a Liberian. You don't pay tax in Liberia. The little 5 cent, 2 cent, you
know what? I'm gonna compare this guy some of his old video because when he come here, when he come here, he cries like a baby.
No, will you people allow me to finish my statement?
Let me just inject something into your mind. I'm a dual taxpayer of the United States government, of the United States of America. My tax I pay every day to the federal government. The federal government intends to send money to poor country. So if at all,
well, if you have issues, Mr. George, go to your representative, go to your congressman. They will represent you. You can't because you pay tax in you can't because you pay tax like American government that give you the right for people to come and report to you.
No, not reporting to me. Let me say this. Except you are not paying tax in California because that's a labor state. I don't know how when they did it, I can't after you. Don't call my name there.
Oh my God! I don't want to hear IRS name here this evening, please. I just do not want to hear anything about IRS.
So if you guys don't mind, let me finish my statement. And
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
And that is the government and people they send here. If they're here to actually do some, not just fact finding, but to try to bring some truth and whatever they believe is the truth is, by trying to explain, because there being a lot of accusation against them, corruption, forget it, killing, forget it. So all kinds of speculation and what have you. So if they're here to explain themselves, then they should make it as public as possible, not for our educational purpose, but for the brothers and sisters back in Liberia. So they will see that when these people travel,
you don't need those information.
You wanna?
You don't need those information. You talk about brothers and sisters in Liberia. You don't need that explanation.
Why do you need that information? Who are you?
So why you, if you don't need it, why you should talk about it?
Because that's what we do here on the platform. So we're here to talk. I'll be happy to get it, but they're not obligated to it. But they should open it for the. I'm giving them a suggestion. They should open up for the brothers and sisters back in Liberia. The duly taxpayer of the Republic of Liberia. These are people that pay their hard-earned money to the country to be represented. So these people need to be informed. Not Samson To and Mr. Emma George, a middle conservative, and Mr. Alfonso So, who is a far-right conservative, and the conservative sedition professor Zavro, to say they have no obligation to us.
Is that how far you going this evening?
Yeah.
I'm just giving it to you as it is.
Okay, Gab, before we leave, do you think these delegations, out of farsightedness, they were engaged in effective public relations by engaging the Liberian community, be it a town hall or something, to try to reconstruct, redefine, no matter what going to be the reaction? Do you think they have the ability? Do you think they're going to make that sort of educated guess to get that sort of conversation? I don't know whether it would be in the mandate with India, the mandates of the visit, but that's how you project the good image. That's how you project the government. That's how you reassure people. Even though there will be, it's high, people seeing what is happening, especially the killings and all of that. I confuse endless verdict on major issue. Do you think by mistake they will have
these people, Mr. So, these people do not have the fortitude to stand among Liberians to come and do a town hall? No way, because there's no trust among many Liberians in the diaspora for these people specifically. And not only that, if they have a town hall meeting, they will not be given the opportunity to act like they're so educated and so smarter than many Liberians that will be in the room. This time around, that Kabuku nonsense they pulled in New York a year or so ago with Samuel Twitter, let me tell you, y'all know anything? That is not happening anymore. The only time they're going to do it, to have some sort of a town hall meeting in the basement of some heavy sedition member of CDC, to have a town hall meeting at their basement, because then it's all going to be sedition. That's fine. But if they want to have a true representative of Liberian or cross section of Liberian, they will not have that kind of opportunity to bamboozle Liberians to believe in what they want us to believe, because we know the truth. And these people, they don't have the fortitude to stand before us and try to give us some sort of a lies.
Okay, that's the liberal progressive, Samson, Blockwood, Brown Toe, from Town to Moravia to USA. Thank you so much for your input. Pa George, what's the final word?
And let me say this. This delegation, they have a stiff mountain to climb. As I'm speaking to you now, or as we're talking, Monday, you will see any government official from the United States, be a Congress, their phone will be on fire from opposition in America. And if they, except they don't announce any name, but any congressman they name it now, or State Department or White House, their phone will be on fire. I can tell you that. So these people got a tough battle to fight here.
Not to meet with them, or to...
Or not to meet. They will be calling and giving information to these people, to ask these people. This is a stiff thing help for them to claim. And what Mr. Toll said is correct. These people will only meet in the basement with certain seditions. They will not call a town hall meeting where we say to all Liberians, regardless of your political affiliation, they won't do it.
Probably they will say because of COVID without the
they will engage in safety. Let me tell you one of this, they will say it's safety. They will not do it. Because if they call any town hall meeting, Mr. So, that would be a firework.
Yeah, part of that because people too are intolerant, but probably they could arrange with a different platform and have like a town hall, people ask them the questions. If they have that political will and tolerance to do that, I think that would be a good thing regardless what going to be the reactions of the people.
Yeah, they will use
we are working hard to see it, to have one of the ministers or one of those people here, hopefully. But like you said, they have the right, they have their own selective mind where to go to get a free pass. The Liberal Progressive of the Liberia Public Radio from Saxton, Sacramento. Thank you so much. What is that?
Please tell Mr. Prince Johnson and those warlords in Liberia. The excuses he trying to boil, it will not work. Water.
You have become a huge attack dog. You are like more than an octopus. Your front line is too much.
No.
Tell Lebron to go tell Prince Johnson.
Mr. So, Prince Johnson, the excuses he want to put it will not work. What are the TRC report was not conclusive. The fire is crime was committed against humanity.
All right.
So what a TRC report,
we're gonna leave it there for the rest of the evening.
They will feed it.
Right. Tomorrow, 5 o'clock, I'll be hosting this young Liberian. He's in the race for the mayor of Derby Borough, Mr. George Dennis, for mayor of Derby Borough, right there in Philadelphia area. He's going to be my guest right here on the Liberia Public Radio. And he's one of our own. Let's go into his political mind. He's trying to get to the job ladder here, which is a very good thing to do. And we must give all the support. Well, gentlemen, the Liberals, I want to thank you so much.
He got a cartel. The man got a cartel.
That cartel from Walmart. That Walmart.
The man got, he ain't careful, he might not win a mayorship. That cartel, I don't good cartel. They ain't gonna borrow my cartel.
The one from Walmart. The layaway cartel, please. Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much and have a pleasant.
Thank you, Mr. So.
To all our viewers and followers, Eugene Harris, James, and all of the people, we said, believe he said, colleague, he says he's in La Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, Fofanant, Paul, and the rest of the crew, man, Jenka, Son, Man United. I tell you that Man U Man, you see the near that complete Man U Man. Folks, I want to thank all of you so much for Musat and all of you. Maki, our man Martin here is also as well. Howard, Soko, Jerome Swanson, I believe. Hopefully I'm calling the name right. I want to thank all of you so much for your time, for your evening. Also send us invite comments, your reactions as to how we're doing it. And maybe there are some specific things you want us to talk. We always say here, you want to be a contributor here. Ladies, tell us. Just put on a taste skin like myself, like Pa Joyce, like the Blocku. We try to mash him here like a mashed potato, but he tries to do his best to put on a defense. So there is it. Have a pleasant evening. And by God's will, in same time, we're going to be back here for more editions. Let's hope and the best come out of Liberia. Gentlemen, have a pleasant evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Ah,
All right, that's a foreign artist. Our understanding he's there now. May his soul rest in peace. He's a blind guy, but there's a lot of great talent in him. We want to thank you so much again for those of you that joined. This guy is the former ECAMOC, the ECOWAS Monitoring Peace, one-time field commander Joshua Dungoyaro, formerly ECOWAS commander in Liberia. I died at the age of 80. In his home country of Nigeria. May his soul rest in peace, and for the services they all rendered for us, for our country, during the heat of the civil crisis. Joshua and Dunguyaro was the former ECAMOC peace commander in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. We want to thank you so much for being here. For those of you outside of Liberia using your internet, to listen is because you want to know what's going on in the country. And we are under obligations to keep our conversation proportional, civil, and well coordinated so that you can have a takeaway. And you have the choice to agree and disagree. And we all will also respect your views and your opinion. But it must be done in the context of civility. And that is always maintained on this network. And so you, our men and viewers and listener followers, we give you the credit. You are the persons that get us to be what we are doing. Don't hesitate to critique us. Don't hesitate to criticize or to express your views and opinions about our talking point. As long there's some sort of level of civility, that's okay. As long we can get a sort of profanity, then of course that's okay. But feel free, send us inbox. The number that is on WhatsApp. You want to share information with us as to how we can improve, what we can do, or maybe things that you want us to talk about and what we are not talking on this network. There are so many social issues, a lot of national issues out there, things that are also impacting the community and putting sufferings on the Liberian people. We want to have all of that inclusive in our talking point. But you can share those thoughts and information with us. Until then, guys, have a pleasant weekend. And remember, the COVID is still around, and we have to do everything possible to keep ourselves safe. Thank you so much, and have a pleasant evening.
I just want to thank you.